So I finally decided to do a nettspend tutorial. This one's kind of based off the beat from like We Not Like You. So if you like those kind of like cute melodies, it's almost like a melody that reminds me of Code by like Joey. And it's obviously a jerk beat as well. It's a very close like representation. It's not 100% accurate, but I have some like music theory principles that you can take away from it and just create your own like take of it. So I'm working in Xenology. It's kind of like the alternative to like Purity. I don't have Purity, so I'm not sure if like the actual melody is made in Purity or maybe like Expand 2 or something. I don't have either of those, but Xenology is great and it gets pretty close. I'm like 99% sure that the preset would be like a harpsichord, and there's heaps of harpsichord presets in Xenology, but I just couldn't get the exact same tone. So yeah, you can use any VST. This is the melody. So it's in D major. So for like any of these type of melodies, the type of notes that you want to use is like the 7th in the scale. So you want to use the 7th, the 5th, and then maybe like the 2nd or the 3rd. Just play around with those notes. If you just like open up your keyboard or if you have like an actual MIDI keyboard, just like put your fingers over those notes and just like play with those actual notes and just kind of create like a little rhythm, and you'll start to like feel like you can put together a melody like this. So these melodies are quite simple. So just go with like whatever you think sounds good, like just straight off the top of your head, because that's generally what's going to be the catchiest. So essentially I've just written this melody. It's not very complex. And then I've just repeated it over here, and I just kind of like some top notes over the top. So that once again, these are the, so it's the first note in the scale and the 2nd note in the scale, but it's just raised up an octave. So then the next thing you want to do, this is kind of like a lead. Once again, it's a very similar lead. It's not exactly spot on. You can basically use like any instruments if you want to like recreate a similar sound using like Xenology, and I'm assuming Purity as well because they're very similar. So yeah, just like play around, find presets that you like. That's where like you can put your own spin on it, just using the same theory. So this is the lead, very simple. Once again, it's the 5th in the scale. So the 1st in the scale is down here, D. So the 5th is A, and then it goes up to the 7th. So essentially what this lead has, and the lead in the actual song as well, so it's got portamento on, so it's kind of like it makes the note glide and it just gives it like this gliding like kind of like plug sound. So essentially like it's just holding down the fifth note, and then it's just like just tapping like the 7th, just like in a rhythm that kind of like suits the drums. Like you're just finding like a cool rhythm. This is just pop music, so it's essentially just like these are like the good notes, and they've left out all of the kind of like boring stuff. So using the 5th and the 7th, you'll be able to like recreate just like really cool melodies, really catchy like poppy melodies. So and then we've just got like a pretty like typical jerk beat. So we've just got this kind of like triplet snare in between, like just kind of feel where it's appropriate. There's like, I've kind of created some like velocity changes just to create like a bit of a swing. So there's like a little velocity change here, here, and here. And then I'll change the color of this. And then in between, there's like this like snare roll. So I kind of like referenced the actual track. There was this snare roll in there. So I just did that. So obviously the way to do snare rolls is you just sequence in the snare, and then you just like draw in this kind of like velocity envelope just to obviously give it like this roll off. And then there's this vocal chop. I couldn't find the exact one. Instead of using the vocal chop, I just used like a percussive element, and it worked like perfectly as well. Then we've just got the Beethoven chant. Like this is a staple in jerk beats. And the 808 is so simple. It's just literally all about rhythm. It's just literally on the root note. It's just all about rhythm. This is just pop music. It's very simple, and that's why it's really catchy, and that's why nettspend is so smart, and he's just absolutely killing it in the game right now. This beat will be up on my Patreon, so if you want to grab that, if you want to deconstruct this, if you want to go through and reference all of the percussive MIDI and find like the right type of grooves, or if you want to go through and take the music theory and apply it for yourself,